warp drive active.
This is
New Eden FM, the radio show, your weekly update on all the cool Eve things that are going on across the galaxy. And of course, we provide you with new tunes to add to your playlist. Take my word for it, you'll be needing them after this anniversary event is over and all the cool sleeper music is gone. This is Maestra, sincerely your DJ, keeping you firmly behind the decks and in step. Because we bring you into the studio every single Sunday. Am I right? Does anyone's feet actually touch the bottom of their pod? I know, $1,000,000 question. I have no clue. I feel like I'm rambling today.
A little bit, but that's okay.
A little bit, yeah. Okay, so
We'll allow it.
I'm gonna pass the baton to someone else. Alondria, you are the original Alondria today, right? Because I mean, I
Yes,
don't really,
yes,
okay.
the original copy is present
Okay, fine.
today.
Uh huh. Yeah, I
And
know
it- yeah, I'm
you're
just-
into sneaking in clones.
Well, there is, always many of me lurking about. That the fact of life of echoes. Everybody needs to understand there's always a laundry around the corner. You never.
Yeah, it's like the boogeyman hiding under your bed. It's like immediately my mind goes directly to that song, Mrs. Hyde by Lizzie Hale.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
There
monster
you
in your
go.
head, right? Okay, cool. And Latara, my BFF, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad. I mean, I just about woke up today after spending too long roaming last night, so all good.
So I was gigging last night as I typically am on Friday and Saturday nights, but I heard some things about that. I heard about you guys getting camped in by SHH and a few other interesting situations with people escaping in like 10%.
Oh yeah. Like yesterday, I learned don't try and kill a nidhogger with like 5 people in fleet. We only lost like 1 interceptor, but we got stuck for about half an hour.
I mean, did you lose them to the nidhogger or did you lose them to the reinforcements of the nidhogger?
No, we lost them to the reinforcement fleet.
There you go. I mean, yeah, but if that nidhogger had been alone, you probably would have smoked it, right?
Well, yeah, we were breaking his tank, but his backup arrived very quickly. Backup arrived at about maybe 1/4 of his shield remaining, forced us to basically start focusing down their support.
Good, it's all good
But
content.
killed a Mallow interdictor and got out.
And my favorite space cow, Rose. How's everything going over there in TSC land?
Good morning. Hey. Everything's good. We're doing good. Yeah, we had a pretty similar experience up in Silent Space, No Space, with Nidhogger as well. They're pretty fun. They can go squish pretty fast, but you catch the wrong one, they can do some pretty decent damage.
Yeah, it's all about catching the wrong one. And our special guests are one of them in the studio today. Durkadur, it's been a very long time since we've had you on the show. How have you been, buddy?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm doing great. And I totally approve of killing augers, no matter what their corp tag is.
Wait, you want us to go and hunt nodes coming into their space and roaming their space? And it's the same thing in Burr, right? It's like, yeah, guys, kill more Care Bears. Maybe they start, paying attention and stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, so on today's show, you know how we do it, right? New Eden news. How are you enjoying this year's anniversary content? There's a lot to do within the realm of the sleepers. Project Discovery is coming to Eve Echoes, and the voice ceremony is live on this Friday. The Content Creators Corner. Find out how one entrepreneur is bringing the stock market to New Eden. And of course, Eve Talk. What in the 7 stars are those cows up to? But right, by the way, that's the best mistake that I've made all week, and I have absolutely no regrets about it. But don't worry, we will fix it on the recordings. Thank you guys for telling me, because I mean, Amy wasn't gonna say anything. She was gonna sit back there and laugh and see how far we were gonna go with it. Either way, okay, is the music bot muted? Because this is a thing apparently. Just need to make sure before I continue with this.
I will check.
Yeah, I mean, people do mute the music bot a whole lot, so we always have to make sure that the music bot isn't actually muted this time. And if it's broken, we fix it, right? Santiago. Always Santiago.
Santiago, the most wanted bachelor in all of New Eden. Yeah, and Santi, as we know, only has eyes for one thing.
Killing SHH? Oh my gosh. I am terrible. Okay, so New Eden news. I think that we can get on with the with all of the stuffs now. Oh, look at that, Kylo Ren is in here. So of course, guys, the voice ceremony is going to be coming up on this Friday. So all those corporations whose CEOs did. Sorry, Rose.
Oh, I was just coughing. My bad. Morning bowl.
How dare you cough?
Continue.
Oh my gosh, you and Alondra are killing me with that. Anyway, so all the corporations.
I should learn one.
I'm just not gonna get through today's news segment. All the corporations who spent the $50, they have already gotten their formations in order, which is great and stuff. And I guess we all get to see how this whole thing goes, because to be honest, everyone thinks that they're going to get attacked by sleepers, and I can't really say that I disagree that that's probably what's going to happen. But I guess we'll see how that whole thing goes. So the live stream, you can click on the little button. I don't know about you guys, but it's annoying me because there's a red button, and no matter how much I press on it, it won't go away, and just irritating me. But the content for this anniversary event has been pretty good. Sleeper sites currently, I believe that Burr pilots are at the top of the food chain when it comes to the capital one that released a few days ago. So congratulations to Wax, congratulations to Tama, and the others who put in the effort in learning how to do those things. And apparently they're just.
If you want to get rid of that red dot, just click on there's a little link that allows you to claim 1,000 skill points. That's why the red dot's there. So
there's 1,000 skill points in it.
Yes, it's worth it just to get rid of the dot.
Just to get rid of the dot.
Skill points, it's no big thing. The red dot is very, very annoying. If you got as many alts as I do, that red dot.
Everyone hates that red dot.
Click
really.
that little link.
I was over on
So just click that little link.
Yeah, I was over on Echoes of New Eden, just listening to Rambo and Taylor, and they were talking about that red dot. But you know what I hate more than the red dot? The new bug, the green circle of doom, because apparently that's a thing now. I got this 4 times on Friday night when I was trying to run the sleeper events with my corporation. It's pretty bad. So I don't know what to say about that, but let's hope that they get that bug squashed. As for me, I'm gonna get rid of that red dot as soon as possible. So, the law of the deep, for those of you that have not done it yet, please take care and please take caution. There are videos that are up, but you can lose caps in there and it's not gonna be a very pretty sight. Also, Concord Pass Season 11 Vanguard is now available. Now, I don't really know how I feel about the skins. They're pretty cool, but it is good to see Vanguard cores or Concord cores back for some of the ships that weren't getting a whole lot of love from the Ascension branch. Specifically, the Striker ships don't really get cores from that, and with what 2 Concord passes, it's been nothing but Ascensions. So ugly orange cores that have really awesome effects.
I mean, the Trailblazer cores look pretty interesting. I think you can do some weird and wonderful stuff with them.
Weird and wonderful stuff,
we'll
huh?
see. I mean, 4.2 AU warping Megatron that prep to warp time's about 5-6 seconds. I mean, that already sounds glorious to me.
I mean, why not? You do yeet those things virtually everywhere, and I think that the thing on everyone's mind right now, and a petition, I believe that Tahini might have made that petition over on the No Discord, to have people vote up them getting rid of a limit on duels. I mean, we already don't have like dueling in Eve. This is the first taste we've gotten of dueling in Eve, and they decide that they're gonna limit it to like 10 matches per day. Like, guys, come on, seriously? What made you think that this was a good idea? I mean, who cares if players blow each other up like 30 times a day? It's fine.
I don't think they expected some of the people at the top of that board. I mean, I know like you got guys like Swiftness and Sky Sniper from No, and those guys are raking in billions off of this event. It's kind of like, I can see where they're coming from. They didn't expect people to be making all that money. It's not like that money's coming out of nowhere. It's being circulated within sort of reasonable bounds, in my opinion. It's not like it's being magicked up from nowhere like buy orders, right?
Well, I mean, whenever you do the little the claims on rats and stuff after doing that, that's being conjured up from nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I agree with you, and to be honest, if they wanted to restrict something like that, they should have just put proper dueling in the game. That way people could just do it for the fun of it. As far as PvPers having an opportunity to make money, you know, I know I'm not going to be very popular, but since I'm not an official content creator anyway, I can just say, guys, fuck off. Someone disagree with me?
Okay, I'll disagree with you.
No,
Question?
I'm saying like as far as them basically being gung-ho about like limiting how much money PvPers can make, I kindly suggest that they fuck off. Because PvPers already don't make enough money. This is my point. Like, you know, I mean...
For staying docked. Yeah, Latara brings up a good point. That would be my primary complaint about the way that they're developing the game. Is a lot of the features they're adding are instance. So it takes away from the main gameplay loop. It doesn't enhance it. So it's either, you stay docked, you do the duels, you do the faction warfare, you do the sleeper stuff, and then you never undock, right? And then everything else is kind of left to stagnant. And the reality is when these instants become less interesting, like faction warfare. You know, we can if you try to queue right now. I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but I would assume that the queue times are really long, which means not many people are queuing.
Well, to be fair, aside from the debris for making EOE stuff, I mean, the rewards kind of suck. The debris to make the faction ships make it kind of worth it, but for the rewards kind of suck. I'm just saying, and they don't really believe in updating their reward system. It's not like every month they refresh and decide that okay, we're going to offer different rewards in addition to, say for example, the wrecks, because people are going to want the debris, and I think that it's fine, right? But in the case of them simply not like updating the reward system or anything, yeah, I think that's a problem.
I think we're probably at a point in the game where just as much debris comes from killing people who are flying ships that they've made with the debris as actually for getting from the faction war games. One Saturday, when they have the all-day thing, I queued for 30 minutes before I just gave up. I'm just like, this is insane.
Yeah, and by the way, shout out to all of the no pilots that are coming in support of Durkadur. It's really great to see a lot of my old friends in here. Semper Fire Dog, Phoenix Tassador, see Charizard there. Of course, Tahini, long time no here. Hope to have you back for the FC Roundtable at some point. But yeah, it's really awesome to see you guys on the show again, as well as my brethren in Burr. Thank you guys for supporting the show. But I kind of agree with what Wise is saying in chat about how hard it is to find roam targets. But I also kind of like it's I have mixed feelings. I think it's great that people have more content and there are more ways that they can spend their time in the game. But at the same time, there isn't a whole lot of incentive to go outside unless you need to rat for money or you need to mine. And so targets are becoming a little harder to find. Now that could be for one of two reasons, honestly. It could be part of the reason in the fact that the game population has been on a very slow decline. More people have come in because of the anniversary event, and I think that it's great to see new people getting into the game. In the past 2 weeks, I believe we picked up 2 new members, people that were returning to the game and who wanted to join a corporation, and their friends were already in Bell, so they wanted to be in Bell, and so on and so forth. So that part, I think, is kind of good. But there isn't enough, like, lucrative stuff going on where it's like we have a constant flow of new players coming in. And EVE's the kind of game where you're not always going to have a constant flow of new players coming in, but I think that the content has to remain engaging. So it's great that there's instance content, but I mean, what would have been wrong with a dueling system where people just go outside the station, drop a duel flag on each other, and fight? I mean, it works perfectly well in EVE Online, but
I think that it's one aspect the game always struggled with is being a mobile game. You need those gameplay loops where it's just like you need that like something you can do within 4 to 5 minutes, as you would with other mobile games, to keep people interested. Because often the through mobile players, that's how much time they're going to be able to spend on a game. In like a job break or like toilet break or just that little small amount of time that you have sometimes. So you need something to do. And unfortunately, I found in the game it was really lacking in the beginning. What can you do in Echoes in 5 minutes? Just not a whole lot. So at least with dual, that it does do that. I don't know how long they last. I haven't done one yet, but my guess is very short. So although it seems the meta now is just to tank until the timer goes off and whoever dies first from like the environment, yeah.
Well, this is why in EVE Online they call us one to play toilet.
Well, I mean, there's this one guy that I play Warhammer 40k with, and that guy is always on the toilet, or at least he claims that he's always on the toilet. So, I mean,
Oh dear lord.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, his nickname is Booty Bandit. So.
Oh dear lord. I don't. That is.
Yeah,
Oh.
but he's hilarious though. You love him. But either way, I think that we need content that gets people outside the station as well. But as long as you know you're not really creating a whole lot of lucrative incentives for people to want to go out there and just I mean, come on. And with the sleeper events, I can understand why that needs to be instanced. It should be instanced for all intents and purposes. And I think those aren't they still spawning out there randomly in space? Like there's the easier ones that you can go and shoot. So I mean, there are still sleeper spawn sites that are going on out there, to my knowledge. People have.
For another few days, I believe. For another 4 days, I think.
That should probably just remain constant, to be honest. The goal is to get people out of the stations and doing other stuff. But okay, so I'm not going to continue on that path. It's a very big black hole that we will stumble into and just keep on going down and down and down. Instead, I will get to the weekly Q&A, which was released either earlier today or late last night. Question 1. I am impressed and pleased with the appearance and visuals for the latest update, and the present storyline seems interesting. However, you have, again, provided content in which only T910 battleships and capital pilots can actually be effective in. Are there any plans to include content for pilots who choose to fly smaller ships? Now, Benzi's already complained about this. One of his videos that came out right after the patch was launched. But here we go. Here's their formal answer. We have received a lot of similar feedback recently, which, I'm just going to put in the subtitle. If you're getting all this similar feedback, maybe it means that you need to pull your heads out of your rear ends and actually listen to your community. But okay. In fact, in the earliest plan, we wanted to have levels of different tonnage in the dormant realm. However, due to the large amount of content involved, only 2 non-capital ship levels and 2 capital ship levels were completed. We will add more modes in the future, which will give priority to smaller ships. And by the way, this is something that probably should be, talked about on the content creators corner. But I can tell you that Benzi literally told them that in the future doesn't mean shit. So, it is what it is. Alright, cool. Question 2. With the addition of the new implants, are there any plans to add non-combat oriented ones, such as exploration, mining, hauling, etc.? Why would anyone want one for exploration? I mean, the sites are trash. Anyway, this was discussed internally, but in the end we decided to prioritize the use of implants on combat-related modules with continuous monitoring on their impact on combat balance. However, our attitude is open. Maybe some more imaginative use of implants will be added in the future. Yeah, imagine Benzi complaining about something, right, Simper? That's good. That's good. Tahini made the statement they should fix cruisers. In EVE Online, you can fight cruiser fleets versus battleship fleets and actually win. Yeah, but I mean, Tahini, let's be for real. Isn't the balance significantly nicer in EVE Online, where ships like cruisers have a place? There's a reason why you would want to be a cruiser pilot. There's a reason why you would want to be a frigate pilot in EVE Online. And I'm talking past, I mean, when I say that, I mean past like the earlier stages, when all you can do is fly frigates. So, I agree, Tahini. Yeah, cruisers could be more useful. I was really excited when I found out that, the EWAR cruisers are actually in the game. Then they came out, and guess what? EWAR wasn't even on the Blackbirds. They literally nerfed the Blackbirds, and split its abilities between itself and the arbitrators. It was stupid. It made me just really pissed off. Um, since there is no targeting range, the sensor dampeners only do half of what they're supposed to do. There's no scripting. It's but those are reasons why you would want to bring a cruiser into into the game. So there's a lot of stuff that's not there, and it might have been that they didn't want to put scripting in there, but they definitely should have at least included like electronic countermeasures, which by the way could have been done from the earlier stages in the game. Why? How do we know this? Well, they put them on the implants, which, I mean, come on, dude. The ability to switch, the attributes of your missiles. I mean, this is a thing because of ammo and EO, right? I mean, missile ships can switch their damage types based off of what missiles they load in. Now you can switch them. All you need is a special implant to go in to switch these things. I don't know. It's annoying. But what it proves is that it was possible for them to do many of these things in the early going when they were making the excuse that, oh, well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I mean, they could have done it. They just chose not to do it. And I'm actually just following some of the stuff going on in The Sound of Us. Yeah, 30 cruisers can take on 10 battleships, but that's also the case here. But no, it's like 30 No. Tahini doesn't mean that the cruisers vastly outnumber the battleships. Depending on the skill of the pilots, it is possible for similarly numbered cruisers to beat battleships. It's doable, but the balance is there. Question 3, did you anticipate players in Dormant Realms ganking each other? So I'm wondering if it's going to be something similar to that. To give you an example, scientists they've been struggling with trying to figure out certain things. And so sometimes it's easier to have people play a video game and find the answer to these things. Well, that's what Project Discovery is like in EVE Online. How it's going to be in EVE Echoes is, I mean, who knows? But it is coming. So, I guess that's something for us to look forward to. But, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's a way for them to use video games to help real-world scientists solve problems.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it does sound very interesting. It depends how they're going to run it, though, especially in Echoes, obviously.
Ooh, yeah.
I think I remember reading about this, and one of the practical aspect of it was that the puzzles that you were solving were essentially you were kind of simulating a potential protein, I guess, chemical compounds. I did a little bit of science, but that was a long time ago. But you know how I guess complex organisms are compounds of different carbon, oxygens, and all these types of things. So through the system, you're completing these puzzles, and I guess the output that they're getting is they're able to analyze and find potential compounds that would make sense, right? Because obviously. And we're getting in physics here, but each one of them has like electrons and stuff like this, so they behave differently, and they can only be aligned in certain different ways. So
yeah, I'm definitely not a physicist. You'd have to probably talk to someone like Wisefool for that information, because I don't know. But I do think that it's kind of nice that our player base are able to, in some ways, help real-world scientists to be able to find these. Hammer out these problems, because who knows, maybe the cure for cancer will come through some game like Project Discovery, and you never know, right?
Could you imagine trying to explain that to someone who only knew of like Pac-Man and Pong?
would say good luck on it. That's pretty much it. But we're gonna take a moment for some awesome music, and then we'll be back for the Content Creators Corner. I believe that Durkadur has been doing some very interesting things, and well, the stock market is good, is it not? Wow. Happy birthday indeed, Tony. For a moment, I actually thought that that was kind of a dragon viper pun, right? Anyways, this is New Eden's Content Creators Corner. And here in the studio, we have Durkadur. So, first and foremost, welcome to the show again. Thanks for being with us today. How did you do this?
So, great question. Essentially, I've been operating out of the shadow for the past 3 months. I've been very quiet about this. I'm still very, I would say, quiet about it in the sense of how we do the sauce, the secret recipe per se. But essentially, we run a business that generates profit of cap sales. And I have a few market edge, which is why I'm not disclosing, because obviously this being a really small game, once people figure out, and they will, it's not going to stay secret forever. But once people figure out what I do and how I do it, there's going to be more competition. Obviously, it's likely going to affect my business. But so yeah, essentially, we've been doing this I've been doing it in the shadow for 3 months, and the fact that capitals are the thing that we sell, it's very ISK intensive, right? So you need to put a lot of money up front to be able to have the resources, and especially in the manner that we're operating, where we front load a lot of the things. So one of the things that we do, one of the things that differentiate us from the rest is the speed at which we do delivery. So for example, if somebody ordered capital, generally within, we have an average delivery time of 46 minutes. So try to beat that. So essentially, we've been doing this, we've been hiding in the shadow for 3 months, but now I feel we're at a comfortable point where we can come out to the public. We can tell a bit more about what we do. And the whole idea here is going public. It's going to allow everybody to buy, trade and sell share out of our investment group, right? Which is based off on the business that we're operating that's generating profit. So what we've done with the two investors that we had at the beginning is set up an amount of share based off on the capital that was invested. And now by going public like this, by offering it to the wider market, it's making the value of the firm higher, because people, there's a real market appetite for this. People want to invest in this because my take on this is there's just a lot of ISK around not doing anything, and people are keen to buy into an investment that's going to generate returns for them.
I think that it's a lot of fun too, because traditionally Eve has always been a game of stock market, right? And the devs have said over and over again, well, you guys don't need these tools you're asking for. We asked them in a Q&A one week, hey, can we have like market data? I'm not sure if you are accustomed to Eve Online, where you can find statistics, and it's a really great chart. I love that chart. And they basically said that it's something that only a small group of players would actually need it or want it. And I thought that that was like the biggest understatement ever. Alandria and Latara were here that day, and they can tell you, I almost got out of my seat and just dropped my headphones and walked away when I heard that they said that we don't want to put in something that only a small group of players would want to do this. But what you've done is really bring the spirit of what Eve Echoes or Eve Online is from a marketing standpoint to Eve Echoes, because many a times we would invest in a market by just buying a ton of of something that is, oh hey, that's selling really really cheap right now. So you buy it, you hold on to it for like 2 or 3 months, and then you sell it back, and you make money. And there are people like Latara and Nox who do that in this game. They'll invest in the market. They'll invest in Plex. So I think it's good content for the game. I think it's really good content for the game.
It's definitely in the essence of player-driven content, because it all has to be run by players on spreadsheets, and you know, it gives a chance for hopefully other industrialists will get inspired by this. I've ran funds before in the past, especially at the beginning of the game, where there was a lot of opportunity to speculate, but not necessarily a lot of cash. So by pooling a lot of people's money together is much easier to leverage, and generate a lot of returns for everybody. But this was all done privately, you know, within the corp, within a small group. Here, this is really accessible to anybody, no matter what corp or alliance you're in. You know, capitalism doesn't see colors. So, yeah. And I'm really happy to say, so what we're doing is we're essentially in an IPO phase. There's a certain amount of share that we're going to be putting up for sale for the public, to be able to get now before the actual stock trading start. And I'm really happy to announce today that as of yesterday, all the IPO shares were pledged for. So if people want to take a look, they can join the Equinox Discord. There's a lot of public information about, you know, the returns that we have for the past 3 months, about how we run this fund, etc., etc. And you know, while they can still pledge for shares, there's no guarantee that they might get some right now. But once it goes public, I'm sure other people will start selling their shares. So there's going to be more opportunity to get in the fund. And at the end of the day, you know, the whole point of this is you're buying a share. You can either trade it, but as long as you own it, you're going to get a dividend every month, right? Because the whole point of the investment is that all the profit that's get generated through the month gets distributed to the investors at the 10th of the month. Because the reason why I started this was just to make ISK, right? That's always something that kept me tied to this game, is the way you can do business, that you can generate money, that you can be very creative in this game, right? Unlike other games, which tends to be very, very restrained in the way that you can do business, simply because they want you to spend money. I mean, don't get me wrong, Eve Echoes has that, but it still has that Eve spirit where you can kind of like build something out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been very sandboxy, and it's always offered players a lot of options when it comes down to how they want to play the game and what they want to accomplish. And Eve has always, for the most part, been kind of considered a secondary real life, right? It's your other life. You start playing this game, that's your other life. And so the ability to do whatever you want to, and to be able to play the game the way you want to, and to be able to bring in things like real world economics is important in what we are doing. So by that standard, I mean, you're doing things the way that you want to do them. And I posted a link to the Discord in the Sound of Us. If anyone is interested and would like to go over to the server, read through some of
what
these,
I want to see.
What's up?
So what I want to see is Dirk have someone make him a like a Shark Tank parody video of Dirk trying to sell to the sharks.
That would be great. That would be great. They would definitely roast me, you know. So it would definitely be a good pitch. And for anybody who's doubtful, because there are plenty of people who are doubtful. You know, the scam has been thrown around a lot. So being challenged with that is a good way to show people that you're serious and that this isn't a scam or rug pull. And I'm happy to take any question. Right? There's a channel in the Discord where anybody can ask me any question. It can be as rough as you want, as straightforward as you want, and I'm not going to shy away. I'm going to answer every question. So yeah.
So I do have one question for you. Maybe you can disclose it here on the show. So how much are entry shares going for? If anyone is curious and might want to, go ahead and.
So a quick question I have for you.
Yeah, great question. So one of the things I struggled with is bringing this to the public is how do you price something like this, right? Because in the private entity that it was, it's very straightforward. 3 blocks, of 250, and I did different price point for each block of share. I would say that the first 2 blocks they sold very quickly. Actually, it was sold essentially before I got on the Rembo show. And the third block finally ended up selling at yesterday. So to answer your question specifically, the ongoing share price when the stock market is going to open is going to be 392 million. That's the price at which the last transaction will have been done. And from there, it's going to be player driven. So my guess is, like any other company, it's going to be based off on how much profit the company generates, the future potential of the company, because there's growth avenue for this that are possible, right? The performance, like I said, the quality of the management team, et cetera, the market sentiment, et cetera. So it's going to be off to the races, and I'm actually really excited for this to see kind of where it's going to go. So.
Yeah, I have a question though for you, Dirk.
Yeah, please.
So I think it's probably a question a lot of people will be thinking when they're considering money into this. Is there any backing, so any insurance almost, if things went down the proverbial toilet? Yeah.
So within the prospectus, we do have if people are trying to get out of the fund for whatever reason, let's say for example they couldn't sell their share on the public market, we do offer a buyback at the base cost of the share, but it's not going to be the trade value, right? This is purely based off on the underlying asset cost that we use to operate the fund. So it's about 100 million per share, right? So I would say that really that's the only guarantee. Else, obviously invest at your own risk, do your due diligence. I put up public information out in Discord. I'm going to keep putting public information out so that investors can have data to make those decisions. But like any other investment, there are risks, right? The way that we operate could be challenged, right? And the fund could not make as much revenue in the month, and that would drive down the share price, I would guess. So there are risks.
Yeah, I remember someone saying to me, the stock market is basically like the biggest gambling game out there, and if the stock market itself listed all the companies that basically went bust and bankrupt, you wouldn't bet on that. So it is very much a gamble, but I'm interested to see where this goes for you, Dirk.
Yeah, I would say in my perspective, the risk of bankruptcy are almost null to none. The way that Iveco works, people are going to keep shooting each other, and there's always going to be a demand for people buying capital, especially as we move on in the future. However, I think the bigger risk is that profit decrease for a very different reason, and but at the end of the day, this thing's going to be around for a while.
Oh yeah, and with the actual price of caps as it is, I mean, most of the value is in click costs, so the prices can't actually drop really much further, can they?
Well, it really depends. There's a whole ecosystem out there. But the way we're structured, I would say we have some resistance to the fluctuation of cap price because we do target a market that is perhaps more affluent, which has more disposable ISK. So they're not as sensitive to the price variation, but obviously there could be a fluctuation in the volume of sales, and that's really the big thing that could affect the profitability of the investment. Yeah.
The other question I have, Dirk, is you said your average delivery time is like under an hour. How on earth do you do that? Is it a trade secret?
Well, yes, but I can speak a little bit to that. But a lot of thing is that it's front loaded. So the typical person, when they're going to order a cap, they're going to go see an industry corp, and then they're going to get a quote, and then they're going to accept the quote, and then generally they're going to wait 10 days maybe before they get their cap, right? Before it gets built. So one of the way that we do this, that we approach this, is completely different. So we don't do any mining, we don't do any PI. What we do is we work with other industry corps which produce the cap parts for us. And then those cap parts we can move around to certain area space where we forecast potential sales. And that allows us to build cap essentially pretty much anywhere out in low sec or ISEC. Well, not ISEC, but just low sec. And because we're doing it like this, and because a lot of the building is front loaded, so we build a cap ahead of time, right? We have an inventory of capital ships that are ready to go at a moment's notice. So that allows us to do very, very quick delivery, and that allows us to get those customers which are like, I want a cap and I want it now.
Yeah, so it's less like what we're used to is like you go, oh yeah, I'd like a cap, and someone goes, okay, I will start working on that for you. You guys, it's literally like, yeah, we got one in stock. Where do you want it?
Exactly. Yeah, and we do the delivery for the customer. So as the added value. So it's like they literally have no work. They just say where they want it, and we get the job done.
It's not bad.
So you guys will deliver even out all the way into nullsec?
Yep.
Jeez.
Full service.
Yeah, I know, right? That's really impressive. Wow. Jeez.
Nice.
I admit that I am curious to kind of just like see how this whole thing goes. And the way that you're working this, the business itself is technically not tied to like any specific corporation or anything. It's basically just you and your investors that are kind of like getting the job done, right? Or you and
essentially, yeah. I mean, if you look at my industry character, he's going in and out of corps all the time because it doesn't need to be in a corp. Actually, being in a corp is counterproductive because the way that you can trade large sums of money in this game is by being your customer or your supplier's corp, right? So
yeah, it's the best way to do it.
Exactly, and we've reached a point where it's like I literally have a queue list of corps that I need to join to either take ISK or supply them with ISK.
Right.
So no time to do corpse politics or alliance politics. I mean, I've done that plenty back in my days in Cash 22, and it was fun, but I'm not interested in doing this anymore. I really just focus on making ISK. That's the thing that brought me to the game, and that's the thing that's keeping me in the game. So
nope,
yeah,
that's fair. Definitely not. I'm not knocking you on that. So for those of you guys that are in the Sound of Us, do check out that link. And Dirk, don't forget that you can also drop in a link directly to the Discord. I believe that would be in the content creator section. You should still be tagged as a content creator, and if not, I'll drop a link for you, or I'll just give you the content creation tag so that you can kind of like make announcements and stuff like that when you guys are doing cool stuff. Of course, don't forget that we are willing to also make announcements for you here on the show when you have some kind of thing that you're doing. How your shares prices are going, we can work with you on doing that as well if you like us to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was great to be here.
It's always a pleasure. And we're going to put you guys in the mix with this one. I'm sure that Phoenix Tossador can probably appreciate this. Babylon Sisters by Steely Dan. Turn it up. Back for the state of the war, and Stony and I were actually getting into a pretty good conversation, which Stony is our guest for today, representing TSC, the Grand Moova, and one of my good friends from the Pantheon era. So before we get back to that really cool part about why we think that structures, and the love of structures is killing the game, welcome, my friend, and how are you?
I am good. I'm just wrapping up this last little bit of summer and enjoying my birthday weekend. I'm out record shopping right now and just kind of soaking up life before I have to get back to space responsibilities, because we all know that space responsibilities beckon, right?
Yeah, and on that subject, happy birthday to you. At first, when people were telling me that, hey, this is Stoney's birthday weekend, I thought that maybe this was like a Dragon Viper pun, but as it turns out, it is what it is. But please tell me what has been going on in Cowland, because everyone's curious. I mean, it's been pretty quiet up there in Delve, at least from our perspective. But then again, we live in the deep, deep south. So if it's not concerning a contract or money or something, we probably don't know about it in Burr.
Yeah, it's been so the start of the summer kind of really we went into logistics mode and had to start kind of filling out the space around Delve as Black had moved out and stuff like that. And bringing in new corps, bringing in a couple other smaller alliances that are around. And that's kind of where the content really started to kick off this summer. So we had invited this group called QIN. They came down from, I think, Syndicate. And we're just kind of looking for some space. And, obviously Delve is kind of a hard region to defend everything, right? So it made sense if some outsiders kind of just wanted some handed it to them. And so they kind of started kicking off the content, them and Yet, because they're both +8, Chinese groups. And them and Yet kind of started having some nice fights with each other, kind of really some nice arranged stuff. We had to go help out some people in the East, and kind of during that time, Yet and our Chinese group kind of worked out a truce and didn't have too many fights. And while we went and did some other stuff. But then it got kind of exciting, like 2 weeks ago. I was just hanging out on a Wednesday, and all of a sudden someone PM'd me and they were like, hey, there's some new SOV in Delve. And I was like, oh, that's news to me. So I opened up my little SOV map and it looked like news, Sky News, the Russian media group, had just plopped down a citadel right in Delve. And so obviously we had to get rid of that right away. So we ended up forming big in the next, within 24 hours, and turns out, as Diplo work kind of worked out, Sky News was told that Delve would be a good place for them to live. Not necessarily sure where they got that intel, but someone said it would be a good place for them to live. And so VLT, I won't really say no, because I know it wasn't no proper. VLT, a corporation in no machine, realistically for just content. I don't think there is any big master scheming plan. A lot of people have sent me PMs and been like, do you think RM is going to make a move on Delve? And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure we all just want a PvP. So we had a really nice, fun fight. It was actually pretty even numbers once you kind of worked out the caps, because we didn't drop any caps, and VLT and them brought quite a few. We were able to kill the Citadel, killed one of the Dreads, and had a nice day. It was a nice little reunion. We had a lot of old friends come and help us out on grid, which is kind of a nice arrangement that the South has. A lot of us we help each other out when we need to help each other out, and then we turn around and roam each other 5 hours later. So it's kind of nice that we've maintained a lot of friends
and
from
hope
the Pantheon era.
Is that right?
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, if I'm active, that's always 50-50, It's usually after that fight I get a PM 2 hours later and someone's like, oh, I was trying to cross through Smeb and I died. And I'm like, well, sorry. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty chill. We have public knowledge for us now, at least. No has a nice contract out on us, so I know the cows have been super busy fending them off as best be. I think we got a couple nice fights lined up, which is always really nice. Delve is somewhere that, we pretty much bring the fight whenever we can for timers and stuff like that. You might not always get us to undock for other times, but when you get us in our CTA holes, we like to come play. So could be some good fun in the next week.
Oh yeah, I had some good fun down one of the TSC pockets. Not this week, but last week.
Yeah, Delve's. It's an interesting place because you have some places in Delve that you can go roam and kind of have freedom, and it's nice to play and roam around the pasture. And then there's certain pockets where I'm glad that I'm blue. Never want to get caught in some of those areas.
Oh yeah, there are definitely some pockets where it's you show up and it's how dare you be in our space, yeet.
Yeah. Yeah, and really the only counters to that is, you know, as a lot of people I've seen start to kind of complain more and more about this in the game, the whole log out mechanic inside of this game is something that I think all of us could slightly agree needs to be at least reevaluated, right? I understand we can log out the way that we can log out because it's a mobile game, but you really can't abuse it. There's quite a bit of things you can do with log out maneuvers and just kind of leaving people logged out in space, and there's not much intel or anything you can really do at that point in time, you know. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, I've made use of it myself. I log off camp from time to time, like, or like yesterday, I got forced off a Nidhogg with my 5-6 man fleet, and basically had to log in system for 20 minutes, let them cool off, and then run away.
Yeah, it's really nice and beautiful in that, but also I think there's been a lot of groups in the game we've seen who have really kind of weaponized that ability to log off. ZRQ was absolutely lethal with it against Void. Honk has been notoriously good at playing logout games with people since pretty much the game started, and that was like a recognized mechanic. So I mean, it is really fun, and it does require work, to be honest. People think it's like a very easy mechanic, but you're an FC, like, you have to keep people occupied. Like, you can't just like log off for a half an hour and then like expect everyone to be available to log back in. Like, if you're not entertaining your people to hang out in comms for that whole half hour while you have to be logged off, like, it's a pretty useless mechanic, right? It does take dedication.
Yeah. You could log off like 100 guys, and when you log back in, you've somehow only got 20.
Yeah, almost every time. So the groups that can truly like weaponize that, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I say, there's definitely some groups in the game who have got it down to a T. I know No has Coffer, and those guys have caught me off guard a few times. And it's not even like logging their whole fleet off. They'll log off like part of it, like they'll log off a few battleships or a few Logi, and you think you've got the edge on them. And then all of a sudden, wait, where did those extra 10 Logi come from?
I mean, when you start making a lot of these moves on the grid that you're like, oh, I can go do this. And then it's like, well, you can only do that because of what you see. And then when you see everything else, you're like, I should not have done that. It's not what I should have done.
I'm in danger.
Please help. But other than that, you know, I've been chilling. Actually, I haven't been able to play much of the... I'm getting ready for implants, right? I've just kind of sat back and listened to everyone's talk about implants and haven't really had the time to play it myself. So I'll be interested to see how that changes PvP for the cows and really for everyone else, of course.
I mean, there's definitely some implants that are very broken right now. Like, just, it's ridiculous. Like, what you can get away with and what you can push your ship to do. And there are other ones that feel a little bit more balanced. Like, they're still strong, but I think they're within the realm of balance. But I know there are some people who have done some very busted stuff with implants.
One-shotting ships.
Yeah, I mean, the ability to I think it's like the drone bomb thing, not the anti-drone bomb, but the drone bomb thing on fighters and drones. I was talking with one of our carrier pilots in Alliance, and he was saying he can one-shot a battleship now.
Oh, wow.
Damn. Okay.
I've seen, I don't know if it's the Bombard one, but I've seen clips of I think it was a tornado, like one-shotting a cruiser from like 200 kilometers.
Gosh.
Oh, damn.
I know that can be a bit deadly. Mel was absolutely ripping up battleships when we deployed. I believe on Friday, we decided that we were just gonna like get a little bit of fun and dread bomb a knee corp, and yeah, it happened the same way when we fought Trimark. Mel just dread bombed the fuck out of him.
Well, it's nuts. The cannon implant Mel was saying makes his dread feel like he's got a DPS fit, but he's actually full tank.
I mean, it's the same thing
That's
with my
nuts.
Balgorn, though. I mean, did you see the screenshot that I sent you? That's with the implant activated. It's like 4K in a tank fit. Like, I may as well just throw away the heat sink.
Yeah, my routing builds with my two rail battleships, like if I'm actually paying attention properly and not doing what I'm doing right now, which is just looking at my screen briefly whilst I try not to die, I'm managing the implants on both accounts. I can shred Anont, and it's absolutely insane. But it does take some managing, thankfully, on those.
And so, is it true? I can obtain, like, I don't actually have to pay for anything if I want busted in.
I would
That's how much I've
assume
been
that
paying
if
attention.
you want to get into a car accident or something. So,
So how it works right now, Stoney, is basically if you want the top tier implants right now, it's going to cost you $90. But all of the implants are available in terms of reverse engineering them and getting them through in-game means.
Right, that makes sense. Well, sick. I don't want to be short, but I do have things to attend to. So I am going to leave you lovely folks to keep talking about you stuff. Thank you very much for inviting me on. I know it's nice and short, but
of course.
I have people beckoning me.
Of course. I mean, the Grand Moopa always has people beckoning them.
Happy birthday!
And yeah, happy
Thanks,
birthday.
Definitely happy
And
birthday.
thanks for doing the show, everyone. Y'all are great.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, hang out with us, really. And we really do welcome in pretty much everyone to kind of tell their story and to just really, it's a community show, right? So, guys, come on down. We still need to get, and I'm going to call them out because they're in the sound of us today. We need Phoenix Tassador, Tahini, and I think that Mel isn't here, but we need Mel from Burr. And I think that we wanted to get Fok, but it's so damn difficult because Fok is all the way on the other side of the globe, literally. But we want to get you guys in here for FC Talk. We've literally been talking about it since like the earlier part of this year. And the last time we had it was when Phoenix, Tahini, Matarella, and I think that Latara were in the studio. So
I'm always here.
I mean, you're always here now because you're a host, right? It's just the way that it works. Yeah. So I'm going to do some of these requests because I've literally been watching you guys post them in the Sound of Us for a little bit of time now. I think this is the one that both Phoenix and Tahini wanted. Georgia, turn it up, check it out. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Rambo's podcast, Echoes of New Eden, and he had a very special announcement to make. Apparently, there is going to be a Rambo roast on next week's show. So people are going to be free to come on to the show and throw their best roasting statements at Rambo, and I guess he's just going to take it. I got to know, are you inviting back? Because that would be truly good. That'd be good content, I think.
Does that mean we'd get to roast back?
I mean, we get to roast Rambo, but I mean, I would take the opportunity to roast back because why not, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Rumor has it that Beck is MIA. What's all over Reddit. So I would prefer not to roast somebody. Know what's going on.
Very true, very true. It's fun to roast them when they're here and they can be roasted. And Beck he is a part of this community, and I think he's the guy that everyone loves to hate, and the game wouldn't quite be the same without him. But either way,
Yeah.
it is going to be Rambo roast. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna roast Rambo, and they can roast them, and whoever has the best roasting statements for Rambo, at least 3 people, I believe, according to what he's saying, he's giving Duo Omega. He's giving Duo Omega. And all you gotta do is just go over there and just roast them. Just prepare your content ahead of time. That would be my best. That'd be my best advice for you. Just prepare it ahead of time.
Kenzie, someone was asking Run questions about Tama. So, as in Tama, as in the system, not Tama as in best tackle this game's ever seen. You can say we got time for him to pop in and give us a bit of a brief history on X and the history in Tama?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on down.
I'll give you the roles now, Run. Give me a second. Got it. Whoever roasts this show right now, giving 2 Omega combos now. Oh no. Run, you've got roles to come down.
Yes. And this is Eve Talk, so I mean, technically speaking, you're free to roast here if you want to, but she's the statements in the sound of us right now.
1 2 1 2. Hello.
Aha.
So,
Hello there, Ron.
Mr. Run. I mean, it's one of those things. It's always interesting to talk to, especially low-sec groups. And I know you've been a part of low-sec groups for a long time before coming to No and Pew, right? And obviously, someone's asking about the Tama scene. So would you like to elaborate there, mate?
Tama is a beautiful place. It is a location where PvP is rampant and everywhere, and everyone that goes there intends to PvP, and it's a sort of environment where you can expect everything, both loyal PvPers who are willing to do a 1v1 against you, and people who are legitimately just have a fleet logged off waiting to gank you. So thanks for your mention in regards to X, and we've spent a lot of time in Tama, and we spent so much time in Tama that we decided to place a POS there, right? And that POS was dropped nearly 1 year ago, actually in September. In 4 weeks or 3 weeks, we'll be having our first year anniversary of that POS, which is still there, and it's publicly accessible by everyone. You can all go there, dock, leave your ships, and yeah, the purpose why we did that POS was so that PvPers that were fighting and fighting each other could literally just, instead of having to warp to a safe NPC, they could warp to the POS and dock. And there's 2 timers: there's an aggression timer and a criminal timer. And as long as you don't have a aggression timer, which is I think is around 30 to 60 seconds, you can literally dock in the POS. And it's a safe environment for pirates. So the whole purpose of making Tama a very PvP fostering environment was to have a POS which is publicly accessible by everyone. Now, in the space of that year, it's been attempted to be destroyed by a number of occasions, and we've had some epic fights there, some of which the POS has nearly been killed, especially some Chinese counterparts like CMSN, who is now an SOS, who used to call us white pigs and used to shame our Chinese corporations for even daring to play with us and being an insult to the motherland of China. Well, we fought them several occasions and wiped each one of their fleets with sometimes equal numbers, sometimes outnumbered, and sometimes slightly outnumbering them. But yeah, overall, we've had a lot of attempts for its destruction, but it's still there. And anyone that wants to find a fleet fight with us can definitely go for the Tama Post. I would appreciate if it's not killed, because it is now part of the ecosystem of Tama. There's people dock there regularly, and especially the pirates of Tama go there a lot. Now, the last thing I'll say regards to Tama, and this is the end of my little speech, is that do not do missions in Tama, basically. More than 3 or 4 times a week, a day, you'll find people doing missions in Tama, and that is... you're just painting a big...
Suicide.
Yeah, it's pretty much suicide. And a lot of things die in the Tama Sun as a sort of... I don't know, it's just weird. There's a weird cult, and a lot of PvP groups have formed and fought there, and it's a fantastic environment. If you ever got a cheap ship that you're just willing to throw about and you're next to Jita, it's 4 jumps to Jita. Just go to Tama and PvP, and if your aggression time is down, go walk to the Possum Dock and enjoy this. We've got some very nice views from the Tama Posts, and we've got good catering, massage, parlour, and it's good. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoy the Tama Posts, and you're all welcome to dock there.
Yeah, I do love that POS in Tama. I know you had the frequent button heads with Bozy on that POS as well, to the point where they planted their own as well, didn't they?
Ah, yes, sorry, I forgot about that story. Yes. So Bozy, for those that don't know Bozy is a Chinese low-sec corp, and they're infamous for being extremely stabbed. I think when NetEase introduced the Death Wish core, which it's like a double-edged sword, because in that nano core, you can either make it so that you have more points of stab, so meaning that you extremely stab and you can't be tackled, which is very common in low-sec, hence why people use the multi-box like a tackle, like Covops, like a bomber or something, and then a DPS ship, just because people are usually very stabbed. Those of us who are purists and loyal to the BTs of PvP don't usually stab our ships, but others decide to do so. And Bozy is one of them, and they're infamous for being heavily stabbed in their ships. So we fought them a lot of times. They hated our POS because they lived mainly in Tama. So X and Bozy used to fight a lot against each other. They were always respectful in the fight. The only part is that they were stabbed, so they easily walked off. And one time they brought a massive fleet to fight our POS, and they brought it to Hull, and then they dropped a POS 1,000 kilometers above ours, right? As a sign of superiority, as a sign of saying, I'm killing yours, and I'm dropping another one in front of you, like to one-up us, right? And it didn't end very well for them. I personally did not want to kill their POS, because I thought it was cool that there was another POS there of a PvP active group. Our Chinese corporation, Koffer, decided that they considered it to be a bit of a... too much of a... what's the right word? A bold move, and they decided to wipe that POS, and that was actually quite a big blow for Bozy. And since we blew up that POS, Bozy's not been the same, unfortunately. Hence why I insisted that I didn't want that POS to be burned. But the time before that POS, our POS was blown, and Bozy also attempted to kill, the first hot drop in Eve Echoes occurred on the Tama POS, which is Matty who dropped his revelation in that POS, and and it was a very cool fight. I'll post the video now in the sound of us, so you guys can see it with some cool music. And anyway, that's the story of Tama and the POS, and yeah, so there's a lot of history going in there. And I'll tell you something, that POS has got a lot of the hull's been damaged a couple of times, so it has got its scratches,
Yeah, I just like to headcanon picture that POS as being patched up with the hulls of all the destroyed ships that have been destroyed in Tama.
Yeah, one thing that's actually funny about the POS is that a while back I thought about this, right? I could have fitted a scram and a web and missiles on it. So just basically anyone that was on the undock, I could just scram missile and blow them up, right? And web them. But I thought it would kind of defeat the purpose of the POS. If the POS is aggressive, you don't dock in the POS, right? So I would only use it when the kind of as if I was role-playing a structure, because you can basically fly it in some weird way. only if the post was being attacked, I would scram a web. And a couple of times when we had these Chinese or Russian groups trying to blow it up, I would scram a web one of their ships while I was multi-boxing some other stuff, and then I would use the scram and web. But for conventional ships to use it, I think to maintain the purity of the purpose of that POS, it still has not acted in a hostile manner to any group. Even when the groups that attempted to fight us would still dock and use it, I would not, attack it, because it's kind of there for a specific purpose and for people to use it. So yeah.
I love the placement of that POS and making it public, and just like giving the pirates like their safe sort of hideaway in Tama is just epic.
Yeah, thanks. So that's why we posted it. And I think next month it's the 1 year anniversary. We're very surprised it lasted for a year. If you or anyone has any ideas about what we could do to celebrate the 1 year anniversary, give us send it over. I was thinking of doing like a cap fight, but I'm not sure if people will commit to that.
What about a T4 free for all on the POS, and the POS gets to shoot anything?
That's not a bad one. I like that one. Yeah. Or like type T5 cruisers, or something that's like cheap and affordable that a lot of people can come to. Like Tama has reached above Jita numbers just because of that POS, which is kind of crazy. I think the peak was 600 of people in Tama at a certain time, and there's a lot of tension. And like one Chinese group, brought a lot of people, and they stood down at the end. And unfortunately, we didn't get a fight. But yeah, it's quite funny what a stupid 2 billion ISK POS has managed to muster. Yeah,
I mean, I was there when you anchored that POS, and I remember you saying on comms, "This isn't going to last a week."
Yeah, it's lasted a year, so surprisingly.
You have to have some sort of major blowout party festival in Tama. Maybe a 24-hour absolute carnage in Tama. Just encourage all the pirate groups to just show up and kill each other for a whole day, more than they normally do.
Maybe we just put a very tanky Naglfar as bait, and then we invite every group from New Eden to come and blow it up or something. But whoever gets the final blow, it's some sort of prize. So that the POS is not destroyed, it's still there, And whoever gets the final blow gets some sort of prize, so everyone's incentivized to go there and blow it up, kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll think about it.
I get a feeling you just basically said Naglfar, bait, and Matty's already in your DMs going, on my way.
Yeah. Some integrated 300 bill. Now with implants and all sorts of fuzzy additions. I think, let's see what's new possibilities Matty thinks of to do with his...
I do love Matty's naming scheme for his accounts, though. He's now finally got the account that is the question he hears the most. Matty, why?
I think there's a Matty Dunn as well. I need to check that one. Funny enough, Matty Dunn is the one that plays the most strategically.
I did love that in clearing out a POS in Pew's home system, Matty soloed a POS called... was it Matty Sucks?
Yes, I remember that, actually. It was from Somewhere of X that actually created a lot of drama. Well, a fair amount of drama. It was like, why are you blowing up our own POSes? But anyway, that is what it is.
Yeah.
But yes, it was kind of funny that Matty would blow up a POS that insulted his own name.
Yeah, I've always loved the sense of humor around the PvP that comes from the PvP groups in particular. You generally don't find guys in the hardcore PvP groups who are salty even about getting blobbed or just dying in a what could be considered an embarrassing way. It's just we're here for the fight, win some, lose some, have a laugh about it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's the culture. There's some people, obviously, there are always some people salty. But I think I'm glad. You know what I'm glad about this game is that slowly, with experience, and I see everyone a lot more willing to do PvP overall in the game, and also a lot more people less salty about losing a ship, and they just understand it's part of the nature of kind of EV. And I think that's a very, very good thing. And people are just cool with, I'm fighting, I'll lose a ship, no biggie. And I think insurance influenced that, but anyway.
I mean, you get some guys like the guys from Mug who are really cautious when they PvP, but they're really efficient in terms of kills to deaths, and Like that's their style. Then you've got like people like myself who just like to yeet ships and see how many I can get before I inevitably die.
Yeetathon. Let me post that emoji. We still have it on the no Discord. There we go.
We stole it and it's in the Burr and Bell Discords now.
Nice. It will remain in the no Discord as an ode to that beautiful Megatron.
I mean, it's only got more nasty. With implants, that thing's hitting almost 2,000 DPS with a tank fit.
What are your thoughts on implants, by the way? I don't know if you touched on this subject, and I might be moving the direction of this conversation, but it's freshly out the oven implants. I don't know. Would like to know what everyone's thoughts on it are.
And the way I think I mentioned this earlier is that I see it like some of them feel reasonably balanced. Like they take a little bit of micromanagement, which is definitely difficult. Especially if you're like fighting outnumbered, fighting solo, like the railgun implants from the ones I have you've got to manage the heat on them. So like you need it at 70 before it's actually doing anything, and then you've got to keep it within that 70 to 99 range to keep that benefit rolling. And if you're maneuvering manually, like it can be a little difficult. But I think that's good, because obviously the downside, if you overheat that implant, it's your cycle time on your guns goes down until they've completely cooled off. So it's like buff. Uh-oh. But I think some of them are definitely ridiculous. There's the rapid-firing cannon. I remember seeing there's a video that's going around. It's only about 15 seconds long, but a Macariel like using that implant and killing a Hyperion tank fit through a DCU, and that's just busted. It looked like those videos you see, like, you know, where people speed up the long fights because no one wants to watch it at a 45-minute to an hour video, so you condense it, like double speed or whatever, and you see all the modules like zipping round. That's what that implant made it look like to me. It looks like it looks ridiculous, and some of it needs balance. I mean, some of the I think the drones with the bombs, like bombard tactics or something like that, like that's disgusting. Some of what they can do. I spoke to a carrier pilot who can one-shot battleships now.
That's a bombard one, right?
Yeah, it's like it basically gives the fighters or drones bombs, and it's disgusting.
Is it bombs like EVE Online smart bombs? Is it like a area of effect thing, or is it just kind of the target?
It's the locked target, I believe.
Would be cool if it was area of effect, though.
Oh, yeah, but I think one of the laser ones is a bit disgusting as well. Like, spoke to a couple of guys with I think it's the focus crystal, and it's putting like succubuses up to like close to 800 to 1,000 DPS.
I think you mean the it's actually the impulse crystal. The focus crystal, I think, is the one that requires you not to miss and shit.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's putting like succubus's DPS through the roof. One of our Daredevil pilots in Burr is, I think, hitting consistently like 900 DPS on a Daredevil.
Oof. With snubs, they could probably do that insanely. Yeah.
These implants, when you optimize them well and spend a lot of ISK or real money on them, are incredible tools. I think they are too powerful in some instances.
We should see, like, it's 4 days. They're going to be repatched, right? Apparently.
Yeah, I think 3-4 days. That's why I've only put about 3 billion ISK into implants right now. I could have put more, but with them being either balanced, I didn't want to put too much in because I might go, well, that wasn't worth 6, 7, 8 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting a bit. The only thing that's personally a bit annoying is the difficulty of getting the higher grade ones, except with money. Like, if you have to base it on RNG, like, I know someone that's it's in the top leaderboard of practically all of these events, and they've got as many of the triple boxes on many tunes, and they still aren't getting any of the purple nanocores. So it's the orange or the purples. So I don't know. I don't think they've publicized the percentages of what you can get with them. Like, you actually try and grind them, right? This person spent an insane amount of time trying to attempt it. So it's like, okay, if he wants to be have a competitive edge in PvP for a specific implant, he's going to have to pay money, right? And I think that is a bit of a sad reality of how these are. And I hope at least NetEase kind of adapts the acquisition process of how to get these implants outside of just a credit card, because otherwise it goes into a bit of like I didn't play Second Galaxy, but a lot of people told me, and probably I think Alondris played Second Galaxy, but I heard it became very pay to win, and this thing with the implants does kind of feel a bit pay to winish. Hopefully NetEase does fix them.
Like, theoretically, you go 1v1, like both in the same ship, but they've got like some of these ridiculous implants. You ain't got a hope, and it's gutting in a way.
Yeah, especially think about it on a 1v1 versus basis, right? This event of the thing which you're in these, what was it, like 1v1? I don't know the actual name of it, like faction warfare 1v1s. Basically, if someone's just spent like $200 on the first day, they can win you. There's nothing competitive. Like, you can't be a better pilot. You can't maneuver. You can't have a higher transversal. You can't fit a more alternative doctrine. If they have the general implants and the correct, actually, it doesn't even have to be like a specific one for the ship. It can just be all round. Any ship you fight, they're going to win you 100% of the time. And I think this new game that launched, Diablo for mobile, also had that issue where people were swiping super hard and they could actually not even fight anyone because they had just the best gear and they could not fight anyone. And I think I really, really hope if you kill the dynamic of having a beautiful 1v1 against someone, and you're just going to get blasted every single time just because someone swiped some credit cards, which I'm sure many people are available to swipe, but just some people are willing to commit that money. Some aren't, right? Or some are just pure play to play. So.
Or the orange implants, if you want to just buy, it's in my currency £80 sterling. I think it's about the same equivalent in US dollar and whatever currency you use.
100 in USD if you're paying that way, and I would assume that euro, it's the same thing. It's in the same general price. Very true that you can you can earn the implants. You can earn them by doing the sleeper cells. But they're very rare, right? They're rare drops, or you're saving up materials to try to reverse engineer one. So that's a chance. If it fails, it's annoying. I mean, they did present ways for people to earn the implants. They want to earn them, but at the same time, they also drop them into the game as kind of like, well, I mean, if you want to skip the red tape and just drop like $50 to $100, then there you go. And I kind of agree with Run that, if you're going to put something in the game, make sure it's something that's a little bit more balanced, where people aren't just paying to get the immediate advantage of having. I'm one of the people that did it, by the way. I bought the crystal because the laser instance, it's not even out yet, right? And I wanted it for my laser ship, so I bought it. It sucks, but it's just the thing. They could have left it the way that it was and is in EVE Online. I thought that it was perfect and put in a different advancement system, but this is the one they chose to use, and I don't know. At this point, I feel a little bit indifferent. I mean, these are the same people that said that market data was irrelevant, so...
Yeah, I mean, implants definitely feel like the biggest pay-to-win thing they've put into this game so far. Like nanocores, you could almost argue.
I mean, come on, dude. Capital nanocores, yeah, they are. That is the biggest pay to win because you have to spend like $1,000 to get that thing.
Yep.
That's the biggest pay to win.
I've seen capitals die with the fancy nanos on them. Like it's not as busted as the fact that these like carriers now with the right implants and the right upgrades can one-shot battleships or like two-shot battleships. You know, it's that's just horrid.
It's for sure very imbalanced, and unfortunately, Nitties keep pushing out new content, and they blatantly don't test it. They don't tell us outright, but you can tell nothing is tested, which can be a bit frustrating. And I agree that implants are very pay to win. I do like the idea of what they're trying to do, though, which is to kind of shake things up. And I think it's a cool way that you can customize your ship to really, some of these implants have really cool tweaks that really you're going to approach fighting differently. And I think that's going to help keep the game fresh and interesting because people are going to come up with new strategy or way to fly, and that's going to force people to adapt and keep progressing in the meta of the game. But yeah, unfortunately, it's likely going to be hidden behind the paywall. So,
hidden behind a paywall or a massive grind to get what you need.
Yep.
Like I'm working on getting some high power coils for 2 accounts, and that's going to be painful.
So apparently they are releasing the new sleeper mode. So I think there's 4 of them, and the 4th one is coming this week. And apparently it's going to be a boss fight. So that might be interesting. We don't have that type of content in the game, like a boss, bigger ship type of thing.
I think it's a sleeper dreadnought is what we're expecting to fight in the 4th one. Let's see how it goes. Guys, by the way, I'm going to have to drop comms. Thank you very much for having me. And also, lovely to speak to you. I'll listen to the rest of the show later. But yeah, thanks so much. Catch you later.
Thanks, Ron. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. But yeah, I have kind of been enjoying seeing the sleeper content, and it's hard content, which is kind of what you want, right? You need content that legitimately challenges the players. I think the biggest issue a lot of people are having right now with it is all this new content and all this fun content is done from the dock.
Well, that's not the biggest problem, because you can only do them so many times a week, right? The biggest problem is that they are basically, once again, excluding a very large portion of their community by saying, well, I mean, you like to pilot cruisers, too fucking bad. You like to pilot battle cruisers, too fucking bad. You like to pilot frigates, too fucking bad. You're either in a battleship to do this content or you're not doing the content. And I think that is a problem. I don't, with the dock thing, I mean, if it wasn't restricted, then I'd be like, okay, well, that could be a little problematic. But the fact of the matter is, let's be honest, right? Crabs are going to crab regardless.
True.
Crabs are going to crab regardless. If crabs don't want to fight you and they know that your roam is coming and they've got cameras and stuff set up, they're going to dock up, right? I mean, how many times have you gone into a system and it was just you by yourself and the crabs literally just like docked up and left all their capital loot? So, I mean, you're not going to get a crab to fight you if they don't want to fight you. But I do think that by separating their material, or separating members of the community and saying, well, there is no content for you, you're basically just giving those people the finger and saying, play the game this way or not at all, but still give us your money, right? So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it kind of feels like anything smaller than a battleship, or even maybe anything smaller than a battle cruiser, is like, This has PvP applications, or in terms of Interceptors, hauling applications as well, and that's it. Like, it's just painful, really. I'd love to be able to rat and do like good ticks in my Gila on my main because I love that ship. But I'd be better off training that account into a rattlesnake, for example. It's just a little painful.
You know what? Even if they did release content though, they made the same content, but they would do a room for cruisers and a room for frigates. I think it would cause more harm than good in the sense that, and I go back to my point, NetEase doesn't test their content. So if they had 3 times the amount of testing because they have 3 different ship class that they generate content for, I think we're in a world of pain where things are going to be severely imbalanced.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Isn't it? Like, I don't mind them putting out content after maybe not doing the most thorough testing, if they're willing to, like the implants like they're doing, is like to balance it within like a couple of weeks once we've had a chance to break the system. You know, I don't mind that. To be honest, like if you look at anything with a large community behind it, I mean, realistically speaking, we are still a large community, even though it's not as large as some. And even if they did all the testing in the world, they know what things are intended for, and they know how they intend it to be used. You know for a fact, like when they released Strikers originally, they didn't expect people to be using them, using like siege mode to fast warp and things like that. So they ended up balancing it by basically siege mode now self-tackles. Like there will always be someone who goes, hey, if you use this module, this rig, this nanocore, you can do ridiculous things with this exact ship. Like they wouldn't have thought about it, because you get these guys who are incredible with like theory crafting. I know Wicked Rift from No, he is absolutely incredible and on point with this. And same with Matty, like that dude is really, really good at fitting and working out fits and testing them. Being Matty, he stress tests them to the point he blows up and then goes back to the drawing board.
I love Matty for that though. Matty is something. Matty is a gem in this game that is irreplaceable, I think. And Mel is just like,
we need more Matties.
Yeah, Mel is saying in essence, get good and get wailing the sound of us.
But yeah, like I think regardless how much testing NetEase did, someone's going to find a combination that breaks things.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's inevitable. It's easier to break, and like the only thing that kind of made me a little bit salty is how they basically diced up the content and put it in like little things where, for example, I mean, they're already EWAR drones. It's not like something that's a big deal. There's already, as far as missiles are concerned, they never should have done omni damage. They always should have had some kind of mode where they could switch between their damage types. It was just this weird thing, man. I'm like, dude, like, you basically took all the content and basically watered it down so that you could add it in later and put it into something that's just, I don't know, but yeah, cool. Yes, we can actually get we can invite Maddie back. I think the last time that we had Maddie on the show was after Silent blew up his Naglfar, because that thing was fucking expensive and the modules never turned on, and it was just, I believe as Tahini put it, that was painful to watch. it was bad, man. But
no, like I love flying with Matty. I've got to invite him to one of my roams soon and see what he shows up with. I'll be like, yo, dude, I'm taking attack battle cruisers with hyperspatials, like 2 hyperspatials on it, and he'll probably show up in an APOC striker and somehow keep up.
I mean, hyperspartals or hyperspatials. Yeah.
I've had like Matty and Wicked both show up on roams. They had no like real. They shouldn't have kept up. They shouldn't have like survived, and both got back to the end of it, and we were grateful that they managed to bring these battleships on cruiser roams.
I love what Tahini just said. With enough belief, you can never die. I started to think about that after they went in and took that fight against basically Omest Capital Fleet, and that that was the purest sense of, oh yeah, I believe. Yeet. We win? We won? Holy shit. We won.
Oh yeah, I can remember like just roaming with Tahini and a few of the other guys in the Cove Ops, and we tackle this Apoc striker. I end up being put into like 50% hull, getting at 0 on this guy, and I'm just holding on for dear life, basically, my orbit on 0, and like Tahiti's telling me, Latara, you need to get out of there, and I'm just typing back in fleet, I believe.
How did that work out for you?
I survived and we got the kill.
Oh my goodness. Holy cow.
You've seen me fly, Kenzie. You've seen me fly. I'm there till I'm dead, or they are.
Jeez, that's very true. I mean, that and everyone else apparently taken to like eating the Bell members now. Like, yeeted Wise yesterday, yeeted Amy last week, I think it was.
Hey, I got Wise home alive last time.
Yeah, that's very true. I can't knock it. But I am looking at my clock, and we are almost out of time for this week's episode. In fact, we went a little bit over, but it was great. It was awesome to have Run on the show again. It's literally been weeks. And again, to all of the guys in No, really awesome to see you guys here again. Great having Dirkadur on the show. I believe Dirk is still in the studio, and
Yep,
I look
thank
forward.
you for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to checking out what you're doing with Equinox, because that really does bring good feelings of being a part of the Eve universe, and unfortunately, it just feels like we, the players, it's up to us to actually create that, because they're not going to do it for us. There's not going to be a formal Eve stock market. There's not going to be good market trends data or anything like that that we can look at. And we're very likely not going to get like API keys or anything like that. But some of the stuff that we can expect, yeah, there are going to be more items that are more overpowered, and it will feel a little bit pay to win. But I guess that's the nature of like mobile games, and I'm not knocking on it. I'm not saying that it's okay for them to do it. I think that balancing the game would be better, but at the same time, I've also come to this realization that, okay, well, it's what we're gonna get, and I think most of you guys already know this, but I do keep two EVE Online accounts active, and there's a reason why I keep two EVE Online accounts active. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it, except, yes, get implants. Just do it. Grind it out. I know that Burr is working on getting our pilots implants and stuff like that. I think that all alliances should probably look into doing that. It's great for family time. It's pretty good content, and you're helping your brothers and your sisters out. So, yeah, just do it.
The best thing to do in games like this is work as a team.
It's the only way that you're going to be successful in a game like this. And
Amen.
Yeah, you can't really do anything solo. The people have tried, and they have all failed. Each and every person that has put in any kind of effort to try to do that, play the game all by themselves, hasn't really worked out for them. So at some point, you're going to need another person. But leaving you guys with this one, as well as love, hugs, and kisses. And I believe we are still booping in local or nuding in local. I'm not really sure. Wax is still posting pingus in Bird Discord occasionally, so I guess it's either or. And I think that this is suggested by Tahini. Hold On, I'm Coming by Sam and Dave.